For the past decade, it feels like all anyone in the tech world could talk about was the public cloud. But what if the next big move isn't a leap forward, but a comeback? There's this really fascinating trend happening right now, and it's not about a cloud-first world, but a much smarter, more balanced hybrid one.
So, how are we going to break this all down? Well, first, we'll get the big picture of how the cloud itself is changing. Then, we're going to zoom in on the three main things pushing this shift: the absolute need for tighter security, the demands from all these new workloads, and of course, the search for predictable costs. And then, we'll wrap it all up by talking about how you can find your own perfect mix.
Before we dive deep, let's just start with a super simple way to think about this. Picture the public cloud as a giant, flexible co-working space. It's awesome, it's scalable, you share the resources, and you can get up and running almost instantly. The private cloud, on the other hand, that's like building your own custom corporate headquarters. It's purpose-built for security, it's designed exactly for your needs, and you have complete and exclusive control.
Okay, so let's get into our first section. How is this whole shift away from a public-only mindset really playing out? Well, while public clouds are still, the engine of modern business, companies are just getting a lot smarter. They're realizing that a one-size-fits-all, 100% public cloud strategy, it can't solve every single problem or run every single application perfectly.
And look, this isn't some random shift. It's a direct response to some very real pressures. You can think of these three things as the legs of a stool. First, companies need way more direct control over their security. Second, they're dealing with all these new kinds of workloads that just don't really fit into the standard public cloud box. And third, the, let's say, unpredictable nature of cloud bills is making everyone search for financial stability. So, let's break each one of these down.
First up, the big one, the non-negotiable: security. I mean, we live in an age of constant data breaches and privacy laws that are getting tighter by the day. So you have to ask, how much of your most sensitive data are you really willing to hand over? For anyone in fields like healthcare, finance, or government, the answer is usually as little as possible, thanks.
And this absolute need for control has given rise to a really powerful idea: the sovereign private cloud. This isn't just about security anymore, it's about total authority. It means your company and nobody else gets to say exactly where your data lives and who is allowed to even look at it. It's basically the ultimate form of digital independence.
And here's why that level of control is so incredibly important. To comply with these really complex laws like GDPR over in Europe or CCPA in California, you can't just cross your fingers and hope you're secure. You have to be able to prove it. A private cloud gives you that direct line of sight into everything, from who's accessing what to exactly how your data is being encrypted.
So, yeah, control over security is a massive piece of this puzzle. But this whole shift isn't just about protecting old data. It's also about making new technologies possible. The reality is, the standard, off-the-shelf public cloud environment, well, it's not always the best place for the next wave of innovation to grow.
I mean, we're talking about some incredibly demanding stuff here, like artificial intelligence, edge computing, and the Internet of Things. These applications often need response times that are nearly instantaneous, what the tech folks call low latency. Or they might need really specialized hardware that you just can't rent from a standard cloud provider.
So let me paint a picture of how this actually works in a hybrid setup. Imagine an IoT sensor on a factory floor, just pumping out data. That data has to be processed right there, right now, on-site, in a local private cloud to maybe prevent a critical failure. Then only the results, the important insights, get sent up to the public cloud for that big long-term trend analysis. You get the speed where it counts, and you get the scale where it makes the most sense.
And that brings us to our third and final driver, which is something that keeps CFOs everywhere up at night: cost. Look, the great promise of the public cloud was always this pay-as-you-go flexibility. But for a lot of companies, that flexibility is turned into a major source of financial headaches.
And you can see the whole problem right here. Public cloud costs can be all over the place, spiking when you least expect it, making it a nightmare to budget for. A private cloud, on the other hand, it just runs on a much more predictable, stable cost model, and that lets businesses forecast their spending with way more accuracy, which, believe me, often leads to some serious long-term savings.
So the really crucial thing to take away here is that the entire conversation has changed. This is not about private cloud versus public cloud anymore. It's not about ditching all the incredible things the public cloud can do. It's about graduating to a smarter, more grown-up hybrid strategy that uses the right tool for the right job.
For so many years, this was the question. This is what dominated every IT strategy meeting. Leaders felt like they had to pick a side. It was always presented as this black or white decision, forcing this really tough trade-off between the speed of the public cloud and the control of the private one.
But today, the most forward-thinking companies are asking a much, much better question. They've totally moved past that either-or debate, and now they're focused on a much more interesting challenge, finding their own unique, perfect blend.
The real goal is to build a strategy that takes the best from both worlds. You use the public cloud for what it's amazing at, massive scale, global reach, and nonstop innovation. And you use the private cloud for its own unique superpowers, that fine-grained control, those predictable costs, and the rock-solid confidence that comes from knowing your most important stuff is safe in your own house.
So as we wrap this up, this is the question I want you to take back to your team. Take a hard look at your own cloud setup and ask, is it built for the business we are today, or is it built for the business we need to become tomorrow? Because in a future that's going to be defined by new security threats, powerful new technologies, and smarter financial thinking, finding that perfect blend, it isn't just a good strategy, it's going to be the key to winning.